I realized most of the controversial episodes from the Proud Family last season had to do with white guilt.
He admitted he only dates white girls. I'm sorry, guys. I really didn't get it.
Do something with your white privilege!
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning back in. I'm back with another Proud Family video. I know it's been a while, but I try to keep things fresh on my channel. I didn't want to get too redundant with the race-related Proud Family episodes, you know. And you know, sometimes the algorithm has a hard time putting those other videos out, but I'm back with another Proud Family video. And this is one I wanted to do a while ago, but I put it off. It's about that time. This topic in particular is going to be about white guilt. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to go deep into it. And in case most of y'all haven't noticed by now, with the Proud Family, I review the episodes, I review the show, the characters, but I use the Proud Family, the old and new episodes, as a vehicle to talk about real life topics that may affect us, or at least some things that most of us have heard about within society and culture and race relations. And with white guilt, the characters that have this put on them the most are the only two recurring characters on the show, Zoe and Barry, Maya's father, Maya's white father who adopted her. So the first thing is white guilt. What is white guilt? To me, white guilt can be seen as white people of the present knowing the history and the race relations of the past and taking responsibility and taking the burden and knowing better to repeat those behaviors in the present. Because I'm pretty sure most of us learned about slavery, we learned about the civil rights movement. We should have learned what some white people did in those time periods, in those eras. And even leading all the way up to today, if you watch the news, if you're on social media, you get to see certain stories of how race relations between white people and other races like black people, Asian people, are still not the best. But with the term white guilt, it's this thing of white people should know better. You know, when you're dealing with certain races that are not your own, you know, black people, Asian people, Latino people, you should know how to deal with them. You should tread lightly with them. You know, it's a responsibility that you have to know that's not okay. White people should, in fact, know better to do better. To me, that's the gist of what white guilt is, especially in the context of these Proud Family episodes, knowing what white people did in the past, taking the burden of that, and being a white person in the present, being like, okay, I can't act like this, I can't think like this, and acknowledging your own privilege in regards to people of other races that you may have power or privilege over. Not particularly my mindset, but that's just the general mindset with these episodes. Now, most of us should know about the colorism episode with Zoe versus her friend group. You know, this lighter skinned black guy. He was from a popular TV show. Penny, La Cienega, Dejanay, they all liked him. But it comes to find out, Maya reveals that he's only into white girls. So when they see that he picked Zoe, it's this whole big situation of like, oh, you think you're better than us? Oh, you don't see that he only likes you because you're white? Oh, when has a guy ever liked you before? And basically, Zoe has to feel the white guilt. She has to feel the burden of, oh, this guy only likes me because I'm white. It hurts my friends. But they tried to make it seem like, you don't understand.
You're all just jealous that Noah asked me out.
See, Zoe, you just don't get it. I'm out.
When you look at that episode, like I said before in my other Zoe video, all Zoe did was exist. The guy came up to her. She was eating her lunch. He came up to her. He asked her out to the dance. She agreed. And that set everyone off because it's like, wow, we're supposed to be the attractive girls of the group, and you picked the nerdy white girl with the braces and the freckles that's all tall and lanky and Betty Spaghetti, loosey-goosey. He rejects all of them.
Sorry, but I was talking to her.
And goes straight to Zoe to ask her to the dance, which even she has a hard time believing. The rest all look in shock as they had assumed Noah would be attracted to them the most. Zoe finally accepts and they walk out, leaving everyone confused. Maya brings up even more shock, revealing,
Not really. The way I hear, Noah's only into white girls.
you pick her over us? And oh, it's because she's white. Wow. Zoe, you don't know that? He only likes you because you're white. That's it. You don't look better than us. That was the attitude. And I want to analyze the scene at the end where Zoe apologizes. You know, the white guilt trope. Zoe comes into the party. She sees all the friends at a table and they all like grilling her. Zoe comes in, you know, her shoulders are synced in and she's like all sad looking. And then they're already making snarky remarks at her.
Where's your boyfriend? He's not my boyfriend. Oh, he dumped you?
But then what happens?
He admitted he only dates white girls. I'm sorry, guys. I really didn't get it.
Then because Zoe apologized to them first for not getting it, then they reciprocate the apology. Oh, we're sorry, Zoe. It wasn't your fault. It was Noah. He's the jerk.
Look, Zoe, you didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, Noah's the jerk.
And no surprise, Noah is then seen booed up with the same white girl he blew a kiss to in the beginning of the episode, showing how fast he was able to move on and his whole nonchalance about the situation. They all come to their senses and begin to slow dance with their dates. Penny and DeJohnay dancing with their boyfriends who were always there the whole time, I must continue to emphasize. In this context, when it comes to white guilt, Zoe was supposed to know her place as the white nerdy friend. And she was supposed to know, okay, she had the privilege of being white, of being the only one that he was attracted to in the friend group. You supposed to dead that, like, okay, you only like me because I'm white? Okay, I don't want nothing to do with you. But because she went along with it in their eyes, and she, you know, tried to go on a date with him, tried to go to the dance with him, that made her public enemy number one. That ostracized her from the friend group of, you know, other black Latina girls. And it was like, oh, wow. You're supposed to know your place as the nerdy white friend. And Noah admitted to Zoe that he only liked white girls was like the epiphany moment that Zoe had, and then she apologized, and then they apologized to her. You know, the writers had to make a saving grace. Okay, we're sorry too, even though we had no reason to be mad with you in the first place. And the kicker is, at the end of that episode, what happens? At the end of that scene, what happens? Penny and DeJohnay go on and dance with their boyfriends they had the whole time.
Y'all believe this shit? Can y'all believe this shit?
Like, I can't make this up. I cannot make this up. And Zoe is sitting there, standing there all alone like this with nobody. Myron, you know, the unattractive, nerdy black boy, comes over to Zoe and they have a dance and they talk. But, you know, the other girls don't care because Myron is the unattractive black nerd. And like I said before, that's the thing that always got me. Y'all had them being so mad that this guy didn't like them when they had boyfriends the whole time. Darker skinned boyfriends. But this lighter skinned celebrity guy was the main focus. Like, oh, I'm so sad. He don't like me. But you already got a boyfriend that y'all started dancing with at the end of the episode. Meanwhile, y'all left Zoe to her own devices. Like, all right, now you don't got a boyfriend no more? Okay, go stand alone like you always used to doing.
Could somebody please make it make sense?
And this is the thing. They should have had a scene where they showed Noah being like prejudiced or, you know, saying something offensive like, oh, I don't like black girls. That would have been more of like a, oh, okay, Zoe, like, wow, really? But it's just all of this off screen and, oh, he said, she said, or Maya just said what she heard her cousin say, oh, he don't like white girls. They did not execute that episode well at all. And the reason why I really want to bring this up again is because if y'all didn't know, Bruce Smith, the creator, producer of The Proud Family, said that season 3 of the reboot is coming soon, which most people estimate is around the summertime. So I'm really hoping they fix these problems in this new season. And another thing with Zoe's character is from the first season to the original series, Zoe was never seen to be this pompous, arrogant white girl who thought she was better than her black and Latina friends. So for them to put this thing on her like, oh, you should know better, you just don't get it. You know, I gotta apologize because, oh, I'm sorry guys, I didn't get it. What was there to get? You were minding your business at lunch. The guy came up to you, asked you on a date, blah, 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 blah. They got jealous, they got mad because he didn't like them. That's not your fault. Now, along with white guilt, we could also talk about white privilege. And I talked about this in a previous video when it comes to Maya's father, Barry, you know, her white father that adopted her. Because, you know, he adopted her with Randall, his black husband, and they had 2 black kids, Maya and KG. With this topic, it was like white guilt mixed in with his supposed white privilege. Who could forget about that infamous scene? Barry is now caught in the middle of everything as Randall screams out to him,
Rest our baby. Do something with your white privilege.
Now, don't get me wrong, I understand the theme and premise of this episode, but that part did seem a little forced. Every time I see that scene, I just have to cringe. I just cringe. Like, I remember when I first watched that scene, I had to pause the TV and I just started laughing. It wasn't supposed to be funny, but the way they had him, do something with your white privilege. Meanwhile, it's all this chaos and all these police and everybody running around. Him being a white cop was supposed to just stop everything. It's like, how far do people think white privilege goes? And to me, does white privilege exist? Yes. But another thing is, to me, it depends on the context. Because in that video I did, I had a lot of people who I assume were white were saying, oh, well, I'm white and I don't have no privilege. I don't remember getting no privilege. I'm 20-something years old. I don't know what kind of privilege do I have. So that's when I say, to me, it depends on the context of situations. We know throughout history, you know, if you watch the news, you're on social media, you see all these crazy news stories that have like race relations dealt with it. You know what goes on. But in that scene, when Randall screamed out to his husband, do something with your white privilege, it made it seem like having white privilege was like a superhero power. And then on the flip side, I've seen comments and a lot of people say, oh, well, in some instances, black people can have a certain privilege over other races. Asian people can have a certain privilege over other races. You don't hear people saying black privilege, Asian privilege. My thing is, can black people or Asian people or Latino people have a certain privilege in certain situations, depending on the context? Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Always?
Not always. No. Sometimes. That means sometimes.
Not to say that every white person experiences white privilege, or every black person or Asian person is torn down by the system. But I feel like on average, this is a thing where white people are seen or more successful in society. At least American society. What was it, just at the episode with Barry, Maya's white father who adopted her? It just so happens that his ancestor, who was the founder of the town they lived in, was a slave owner, right? And the whole thing is, when it came to be found out and Maya tried to tell him, he didn't believe it. He just didn't want to believe that his ancestor, his grandfather, his great-grandfather used to own slaves. And that town they lived in was a plantation.
Christian A. Smith was a slave owner. Yeah, Miss Brady forgot to mention that.
Why are we even honoring a slave owner?
Everyone then has a change of heart about renovating the Smith statue after finding out he owned slaves.
The only thing that needs renovating is the way history is told.
Back at Maya's house, she finally confronts Barry with the news, but he is in deep denial, believing there was no way his great uncle owned slaves.
But there's no way of being certain that any of this actually happened.
Maya runs off disappointed, and Randall scolds Barry about his white fragility. He describes it as Barry being defensive about race and even gives him a book about it to read.
Read it. You're on page 39.
So in a way, Barry was supposed to take on the burden of his great-grandfather being a slave owner. He was supposed to get that guilt, feel that guilt. I mean, you're the only one left, the only white descendant of this slave owner who just so happened to found this town, and they trying to celebrate him, and you're okay with him being a slave owner? What did y'all think of that situation? When Barry found out that the great-grandfather who was the founder of the town was a slave owner, what would have been your reaction in a situation like that? Like, he didn't believe it at first, and then Maya got mad at him, and then Randall got mad at him and gave him a book about white fragility. That's another thing. So we got white guilt, we got white privilege, and then we got white fragility. All three in one. These are the common themes that were in these episodes. What did y'all think about that? And I can see why most people felt like most of these episodes that were so controversial in this last season was about making white people feel bad for being white because of what some white people did in the past, which all leads to this white guilt trope. And here's another side note, segue. About a month or two ago, I did a video discussing when they had Penny say, black people can't be racist, or she was talking to the Chain Triplets, right? And in that video, I'm one of those people that I can see all sides of the situation. And one of my points I made was, okay, we know what black people went through, the struggles black people went through, the struggles some black people still have to go through today. For some reason, I had like a few comments that was like, what struggles? What struggles do black people have to go through today?
Whoa, Holiday, wait.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
My thing is, me empathizing and seeing all sides doesn't mean that you have to downplay another side's struggle. That's so obvious. Look at the news, scroll through Twitter. You can see for yourself, you know? Not to say that every black person is still being beaten down by the system, is still downright trying and in the gutter being done so wrong. Because, you know, in our day-to-day lives, everybody lives their life. You know, the slavery days, the civil rights days are over. But there's still some implications. There's still problems with race relations that's out there, whether it has to do with black versus white, black versus Asian, whatever the case is. There's still race relation issues in this country, in this world. So to be like, what struggles do black people have to go through? I'm like, where on the list do you want me to start?
Down like that, okay?
I just had to address that because that threw me for a loop. I'm like, wow. People took that and ran with it. Like, I tried to give a cookie, took the whole cookie jar. Like, oh, what struggles do black people have to go through? I know a lot of people say, we should stop talking about race, stop making race a big deal. These episodes of The Proud Family, which is on Disney Plus, where the demographic is a lot of younger kids and people that grew up on the show, the race was a major part of some of these episodes. Slaves built this country. What did y'all think that was about? It's hard to stop talking about race when so many crimes and so many political, financial, and social decisions are racially motivated. i.e., some of these episodes of the last season of Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, where a common trope was white guilt. So to wrap it up, that was just my take on this whole white guilt trope that was seen in some of the Proud Family episodes with Zoe, with Barry. And I want to know, what did y'all think about it? I know we talked about this before, and I've did many videos about it, but this is a video specifically about that trope and what they had Zoe go through and what they had Barry go through, just because they were like the only main white characters in that show. What did y'all take on it? And what are you hoping that they do better for season 3? What other topics would you like for them to discuss in season 3? Because the Proud Family, when they want to, when their writers are at their best, they discuss some really great topics in a really great way. But a lot of people felt like they deflated the ball with those topics in the last few episodes. What other things you wish they discussed for season 3, which, according to the creator, is coming out pretty soon? I can't wait to read your comments, interact with y'all. I know y'all gonna have a lot to say about this. This is gonna be a topic with the Proud Family that everybody is always gonna have something to say about. I can't wait to read your comments, interact with y'all. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching and listening. I'll see y'all in the next video.